In this video I'm going to have a very quick look at compass bearing and true bearing, and then move on to a couple of word questions. So let's first talk about compass bearing. With compass bearing we have our compass signs which indicates direction of north and east. We don't mark in west and south. Let's have a look at this angle. Let's say the angle in here is 30 degrees. Then our compass bearing first indicates if we are looking at north or south. So in this case we are looking at south. Then it tells us how many degrees we are moving away from south. So we are moving 30 degrees away from south. And then it tells us in which direction we have moved. In this case, it would be west. Let's look at another example. Let's say this is 20 degrees. Then we are looking at north. We are moving away from north in this direction, not 20 degrees, but 70 degrees. 70 plus 20 makes our 90 degrees. And we've moved in easterly direction. Our last example, let's say it's 45 degrees. So in this case, we are looking at south, 45 degrees in an easterly direction. So things to remember: always north or south first, then how far we're moving away, and thirdly in which direction we are moving away. So that's compass bearing. We don't tend to use compass bearing much. What we do use is true bearing. True bearing is a 3-digit number, so you must have 3 digits. It's always measured from north in a clockwise direction. So in this case, if we want to know what angle, what bearing this 30 degrees represents, true bearing, then we are measuring from north all the way to our line. We know that we have 180 degrees from north to south, plus we have another 30 degrees. So the true bearing in this case is 210 degrees. The next one, well, we worked out earlier that that angle is 70 degrees. So the bearing is 70, but we said that we need a 3-digit number, and this is only 2 digits. So we must enter a 0 before it. So 210 degrees true, 070 or 070 degrees true. The third one is the angle here. So we have 90 degrees plus another 45 degrees. So the bearing is 135 degrees. So that's how we work out our bearings. Let's look at some word problems. These are from Margaret Grove's textbook. Kim leaves his house and walks for 2 kilometers on a bearing of 155 kilometers. How far south is Kim from his house? So a few important things: obviously the length, the bearing, the question, we're looking for how far south, and this word from. From is very significant in these types of questions. You must draw a diagram. It doesn't matter how easy it is, you must always draw a diagram. So I mark a point for Kim's house. I put a little arrow to indicate north, so I can do my measuring. So H for house, bearing of 155, that's less than 180 but greater than 90. So that would be my 155 degrees measured from north, and that's 2 kilometers. Let's put the 2 kilometers here. The question asks, how far south is he? So this is where Kim is now, and I want to know just his southerly direction. So that's what I'm trying to find. You can see I have a right angle triangle. I have an exterior angle of 155. I can work out the interior angle. I call it theta. Theta is 180 minus 155. 25 degrees. Now it's just a standard right angle triangle trig problem, and I can go ahead and answer it. Let's look at another question. A girl rides a motorbike through her property, starting at her house. If she rides south 1.3 kilometers, then rides west 2.4 kilometers, what is her bearing from the house to the nearest degree? So the question is asking for bearing from the house. That's really important, the word from. So let's draw a diagram again. Mark her house. I don't have an angle in this case, that's what I'm trying to find, but I know she rides south for 1.3 kilometers. So 1.3 kilometers. Then she rides 2.4 kilometers west. 2.4 kilometers. So I've got my right angle there, and this is where the motorbike is now. Let's complete our triangle. The question has asked, what is her bearing from? So I have to go to from, that would be the house, and I'm looking for the bearing here. Why am I emphasizing this? Because the question could also ask, what is the bearing of the house from where she is at? And in that case, the bearing would be measured from the motorbike to the line. So the word from gives you an indication of exactly where you are measuring from. So how do I do this? I can use my right angle triangle trig to find theta, add it to 180, and I get my bearing. So that's how you answer these questions. We will move on to much harder problems, but it is important to get the language correct and be able to draw the correct diagram for the questions provided.